Hey everybody, it's GoblinX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing another premiere draft of Tarkir Dragonstorm. Without further ado, let's get into our pack one, pick one here. We've got a few different options I think would all be pretty reasonable. Voice of Victory is going to be my number one here, just as the individually strongest card in the pack. Makes us want to be an aggressive white-based deck here, ideally Boros or Orzhov, probably not one of the big splashy 4 or 5 color piles. But there are some other options. The Disruptive Stormbrood is very close in power level, very flexible, being a early removal spell or a big flyer that comes with a Naturalize attached. Or we could go really open if you're super into the 4 or 5 color decks and just take a Tri-land right off the bat. I think those are my 3 favorite cards there. 3 best picks, but I'm just going to start with the strongest card period, which is Voice of Victory. Pick number 2 now, the best follow-up to that is likely the Molten Exhale towards Boros. This, again, is not the most restrictive pick at all because it's another monocolored card. We're really early in the draft, and Molten Exhale is going to fit really well into aggressive or defensive decks. So basically anything even touching red is going to play this, at the very least splash it in. So it's a nice open pick here. It is maybe even the highest win rate card in the whole pack, which is kind of wild. Because Codas, you do have to put a lot of extra work into. If your opponent plays a single 3/3 and you don't have ways to buff Codas, then Codas just sits there doing nothing. But if you've got a lot of ways to buff Codas, you can cast a lot of stuff out of your opponent's library. It's pretty scary. But there's ways to exile cards in this format. There are ways to give -X, and the ways to do that are both at common. So again, Codas is not the most impressive. Pick number 3, Salt Road Pack Beast looks perfectly fine here. In the more splashy direction, if we were wanting to do 4 or 5 color Abzan Monuments, Scoured Barrens, look fine, but the way that our start looks, it looks like we've got a great start towards a more aggressive Boros deck where Salt Road Pack Beast plays really well with enough creatures on board. Yeah, it's fixing a Pack Beast or like a Piercing Exhale here, and we're obviously closest to a Pack Beast style deck. Pick 4, we've got a Mardu Devotee, Equilibrium Adept for our Boros build. We've also got Kintree Severance. A little far off from our current colors, but pretty great removal. And then Marshal of the Lost can also get a lot of damage in the more aggressive decks. But I think I'm just going to go Equilibrium Adept, just stick to our first 2 colors for now, get a nice 2-for-1 into the deck. Martyr Devotee is also deceptively good. It looks really small ball and just like it doesn't matter at all, but if you have enough Martyr Devotees in the deck, what really works well with them is a couple things. First of all, I'll probably take it here. Well, probably not over the monastery. But what I was going to say is that it does a couple things really well. There's not a lot of good 1-mana creatures in the format, and these white-based aggro decks really want to be aggressive, so getting a decent 1-drop that scries and set up your draws is pretty nice. But the other thing is that the more aggressive your deck is, the more painful it is to stumble on mana. If you're playing your 2-drops on turn 3 or your 3-drops on turn 4, you're not getting that momentum that you need to try to take your opponent out before they hit their big, stronger later game plays than what your deck has access to. So you really do need great mana in your really aggressive decks. You need to be able to cast everything on curve, and Devotee helps you do that a lot. It also helps you splash in powerful off-color cards and still expect to hit them on curve if you have a bunch of copies of Devotee, which can really put a lot of pressure on your opponent if you're playing like a great Mardu tricolor card on turn 3 in the middle of a curve of like 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop. So I think the Devotee is deceptively good, so I'll probably take it here over Dragon's Prey. We could take Dragon's Prey as well. I mean, we could end up in like Orzhov at the core of the deck, and we could also splash in the Dragon's Prey, but again, with a great aggressive rare like Voice of Victory, I think the more focused on just 2 colors our deck is, the better it is going to be towards actually curving out and putting pressure on our opponents. So I want to try to stick mainly pure Boros for now. Pick 7 now, Bearer of Glory is a pretty fine 2-drop, as it is a fine finisher later when you get to buff your whole board, especially with all your mobilized tokens and stuff, so it plays fine on curve, and Underdogs also plays fine on curve. Underdogs is kind of fun with Pack Beast, but I could also definitely see the argument for Mystic Monastery Fixes us for red and white no matter what, and if we do end up playing some Jeskai stuff, either off of the splash or if that's like going to be the core archetype here, then that can certainly help out. Pick 8, Channel Dragonflyer and Shock Brigade both look excellent, but I think I'm going to take the Channeled Dragonfire here. I think this is the kind of card we're going to see less often. Ideally, we're going to be one of the very few aggro players in the draft pod, so mobilized stuff like Shock Brigade just doesn't really get taken by anything but an aggro deck, whereas Dragonfire, even the more controlling decks, can be really happy to take that card. Pick number 9, not super high on Twin Bolts in this format, and I already have a Channel Dragonfire and Molten Exhale. I just don't think 2 damage removal kills a ton of stuff. Channel Dragonfire gets around that a little bit by being able to flash back again later. So it is kind of like a double Twin Bolt, like you're getting 4 total damage out of the card over time. But that is also a flaw with the Channel Dragonfire for sure, is only killing 2 toughness less stuff. Pick 10, we just take a Reigning Victor here, pretty filler pack. Pick 11, Hasty Devoted Duelist. I was going to say Devotee, but it's actually not. It's Devoted Duelist. Poise Practitioner's fine when your mana curve is really low. Combat Trick is super filler, a little expensive. And some filler for the rest of this pack. So pack 2, pick 1, Descendant of Storms is great for aggro. One of the few really high power 1 mana plays. A 1 mana 2/1 that also buffs itself over time or makes more creatures with that endurability. That seems awesome. There's also Unsparing Boltcaster, which is nice in these aggressive decks, making sure your attacker trades up no matter what. They block with anything and you shoot it for an extra 5 and finish it off. Really nice with Mobilize as well. When you're mobilizing those warrior tokens on board, those are getting blocked all the time, so you're spreading that damage around. Osseous Exhale is also good, but I think in an aggressive deck, Descendant of Storms is just going to play better. It puts a lot of pressure on our opponent early, and the flaw with the Osseous Exhale as a removal deck in a removal spell in a more aggressive deck is that it can't kill something before our opponent can declare blocks, but all of our other removal spells can. Channel Dragonflyer, Molten Exhale, and now Rally the Monastery as well. Pick 3, 2 very reasonable options. The safe, really easy to cast one is Fortress Kinguard, and this just has a really solid floor. The worst this card is going to be is still pretty good, and it's really easily castable every time no matter what. Bonecare Butcher, much higher ceiling. If it gets run in the deck and we get to hit it on curve, it's going to be very powerful, but a much lower floor. It's a lot harder to cast. We might not get the correct mana for it as consistently, and yeah, I think the Kinguard is just a much more consistent card to simply take here. Pick number 4, Stormplane Detainment. Pretty good removal, being able to clear out a blocker no matter how big it is, but I do like Sunset Strikemaster as well. It ramps us up early, plus it can blow up a dragon later, specifically a flyer. Jeskai Devotee is also fine, but I think Strikemaster and Detainment are both a little better than that. I mean, Strikemaster's really, really nice at 2 mana, and it's sort of like taking a removal spell. It's a very narrow removal spell, but I get to take a great creature on the curve and still sort of-ish take a removal spell here. I'm going to take Strikemaster. I'm not super confident on that pick, but I think it's a great card. Pick 5, Shock Brigade's pretty solid. I've got a lot of 2-mana creatures here, so Rebellious Strike might not be the worst. This is a pretty great trick. You get to trade up into the bigger blocker and then just draw a card. Immediately cycle this away, which has been pretty nice when my opponents have cast it against me, so I think this is solid, but I like the Shock Brigade a lot. Pick 6, nobody? Nobody is interested in the Crater Hoof? That's kind of wild. Nobody yet. Pick 7, Molten Exhale. Also kind of surprising. Here is a Jeskai Monument. We do have a Mystic Monastery, so we could get the flyers out of it, but Molten Exhale is going to be great. We don't need to splash in the 3rd color towards that. Here's another Mardu Devotee. I'm getting pretty full up on the 2-drops here. I could take a Bearer of Glory to like improve one of my 2-drops, right? Like run a Bearer of Glory instead of Devoted Duelist or something. It's probably a little bit of an upgrade to the deck, but not too much, whereas the Devotee we just get to play as our third 1-drop. And really upgrade the deck there. Awesome. Wheel the Unsparing Boltcaster, solid in this kind of deck. Pick 10. Fleeting Effigy can be fine if we get a lot of flurry cards. I've got a couple of them here. We've got the Practitioner getting a counter every time we cast 2 spells in 1 turn. We have the Equilibrium Adept getting double strike. So Effigy could be fine. Jeskai Devotee came back. All right, pack 3, pick 1. Pretty great looking pack. Rebuke is pretty expensive removal, but removal nonetheless. River Wheel Sweep is probably better for this deck. Stunning something for 3 turns is long enough for us to try to close out the game. Plus, this draws us a card when we cast it. And we can do this for 4 mana here, no matter what's going on with our mana base. There's also another rare land here, and I kind of like the idea of having both rare lands that are on color. The Dalkovin Encampment, it is a little bit narrow, right? It's only going to help out when we're flooded out. We don't really have anything else to do with our mana, but if we're in that kind of position, getting 2 extra attackers every turn, that can go wide, find those last couple points of damage, so I don't mind that at all. Pack 3, pick 2. I can splash in or rediscover the way, but my fixing's not great. 1 Monastery and 1 Devotee. I could just take the on-color removal to get a blocker out of the way, and I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to try a pure, streamlined 2-color aggro deck here. Pick 3, another Reigning Victor. I do have a couple Mardu Devotees towards that, and I can play it for 4 mana as well. Have it either spot on the curve. That seems pretty fine. Another Channel Dragonfire is an option too. Creature count is not bad at all. We're at 16 already. I think I can afford to take Dragonfire then. I don't really get to run all these non-creature cards. I get to run like 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's number 7. And 17 creatures. 16 land deck. Okay. Pick 4, get a second copy of Voice of Victory. We could be the white-based aggro deck today, I think. I think we can do that. Pick number 5, Inevitable Defeat. It's a really nice removal spell for this deck. It can't be countered, exiles any non-land permanent, and it drains our opponent for some life. We do need to hit the black source for it. It's required to hit the black source. Like, we don't have any hybrid mana on this. And I only have 2 Devotees and no actual Mardu land. I might still have to take Equilibrium Adept. I've got a lot of decent removal anyway, even if I don't get the great one. Yeah, I'll take the Adept there. Frontline Rush looks pretty excellent. If our board is wide, this can finish them off with a giant combat trick. If it is not, then we can make it wide, getting 2 creatures off the 1 card. Very flexible here. Fits our creature and non-creature spell slot. I don't think I have room for Osseous Exhale with all this other removal, so we'll take the Skyrider as an option. I think every other removal spell we prefer in a more aggressive deck than an Osseous Exhale. Okay, there's a third Mardu Devotee. It's starting to get to maybe enough to where I could have been able to play the black removal spell. It would still be kind of bold. Got the Rebuke or the River Wheel Sweep back. I think we take the Sweep. 1 mana less than Rebuke. Draws us a card as well. I suppose with the Sweep, though, it's like technically 1 mana less, but Narset's Rebuke sort of feels like once you hit that 5th mana, because you get 3 mana back out of it, it doesn't feel as expensive as it is. Do I got enough Mobilize? You know, I've got 2 Voice of Victories here. Duty Beyond Death could be interesting. I don't know if I'll have room for it, but we're seeing like 5,000 Reigning Victors, and I probably only want 2 at the max anyway. That was really the only other card in the pack. So we could try Duty Beyond Death, I suppose. I think I've got enough good 2-drops to not need the Kinguard. We'll take another Boltcaster. All right. This looks sick. This looks like the most streamlined aggro deck we've ended up with here. This was certainly not a draft pod that I think we would have ended up with a better deck trying to stay super open and be the big green splashy deck again. I mean, we would have had a Crater Hoof. That's true. We would have had a Crater Hoof, but lots of aggressive cards going nice and late here. I don't think anybody else, I don't think a lot of other players, I should say, were trying to do anything that aggressive here. So first and foremost, I'm going to cut a land immediately. Go for a 16 lander. Maximum. Go to like 17 creatures for this deck. We're on 22. Pretty high on 2s and 3s where I would want to cut stuff. I could cut a 1-drop as well. I think if I cut any of these, it would be Effigy, but that's still pretty good. It's kind of taxing on the mana base for sure, right? Like when on turns where we don't care about flurrying, we just have to keep playing this over and over and over and over to actually get the damage in, but still a lot of damage. The fire breathing ability is really good to make sure it's still relevant later. I feel like I still like this a lot. Most filler 2-drops. We don't actually care that much about going wide. I've got like the 1-of Frontline Rush. But outside of that, really, it's not like I'm buffing the whole board or anything. I guess the 1-pack piece. The Devoted Duelist is just pretty filler. Jeskai Devotee, pretty filler. Got triple Mardu Devotee already. Definitely not the Strike Master. I love the flexibility of Dawnbreaker. Again, I'm probably higher on this card than I should be, but I'm not cutting it. I'm a big fan. I would cut Shock Brigade before I cut that. I think best to worst of these is probably left to right here. So cut those two on the far right. And then 3-drops. Still 3 more cuts to go. Honestly, pretty much all of our 3-drops I could take it or leave it. I have enough removal that bolt casters aren't really that exciting. Reigning Victors might be my favorite of the 3-drops. It might be like this order at this point. Maybe bolt casters above the bird. Maybe even Practitioner above the bird. I don't know that I have that many tokens attacking. 1, 2, 3. 3 mobilized cards. I guess 1 potential Goblin token maker. A Dawnbreaker could make a 2/2 token. This could make an Endure token. I'm just jumping 1 creature from the sky. Yeah, I mean, I think the order is something like this. Cut from right to left again. Really, would I run 2 Victors over 2 bolt casters? Kinda do. I guess, I don't know, the Victors are really close to 4 drops in this deck. If we don't have a Devotee, then they're a 4-mana play as well, so they don't hit the curve super well. Clumping up with those up top. I'm gonna run 2 bolt casters over 2 Victors. We'll do this. Seems fine. I mean, honestly, I think I would rather just cut another 2 and get rid of the King Guard for another Victor at that point. I'm gonna do that. Because I still have like 9 cards at 2 or less. 10? Yeah, that's fine. Alright, this looks solid. I like the creature curve like that. Cut 3 spells. Go to our 7 non-land cards here. Okay. Just put the really good ones in. 3 Channel Dragonfire might be a little high, but the Exhales, the Rally are great. I think Frontline Rush is awesome in here. So some combination of 3 of these. I mean, all of these spells are honestly great. I mean, I'm not like confident in Duty Beyond Death, but it looks fine in here. If our opponent goes for a big block at the wrong time, this card is astronomically explosive. Like if we attack with a Voice of Victory and they try to kill it. I've got 2 Voice of Victories. This is like the Oops, I Win Voice of Victory combo. But, I mean, it requires having drawn a Voice of Victory and our opponent blocking. Because if they don't block and I use this during my opponent's turn, like I'm not sacking a mobilized token, I'm sacking an actual creature. which is far less exciting. I've got Mardu devotees though, so I do have there's like 1/2s sitting around to protect the other stuff later. I don't know though. I like that all our 4 mana creatures are just like, all right, big body, draw a card. Boop. I enjoy that. That might be enough incidental card draw between that and the monastery to not do the sweep and just play full on removal. I mean, there will be games where River Wheel Sweep plays consistently better than Stormplane Containment. Like, it's not nothing that this is an enchantment-based removal spell. There are definitely main deckable ways to destroy enchantments and bounce enchantments and stuff that could really come back to hit us. Like, if our opponent has a way to blow this up at instant speed, that's like a game-ending kind of thing. When we're an aggressive deck like this and we have to be attacking, getting every maximum point of damage in, like there could be games where I use this and then on like turn 5 or 6 end up going for a big lethal attempt swing and they just like naturalize this, have a whole extra blocker out of nowhere, and we just lose because we had detainment specifically. Whereas with sweep, it would have just still been stunned, or we would have known that it's untapped. I'm probably overstating that as a drawback, but I feel like it's a real drawback against the card in this format in particular. I'm gonna cut. I mean, having this many ways to also shoot the face does feel really fun. You know what? No, I'm playing all the Dragonfires, which means cutting these 3. Eh, I think I need one of the two between River Wheel Sweep and Stormplane Attainment to have like more than just one card for killing like a really big green blocker, because otherwise I'm doing 3 damage and 2 damage. Like I'm not getting around a chunker, and this format has some chunkers. Some 5 toughness cards that get around the Molten Exhale. I'm gonna go for the sweep over the Attainment. I'm gonna do it. And this might be extra bold and incorrect, but I think I'm also gonna cut another land. I have triple Mardu Devotee early for that Scry too, so if I play enough white sources, just run a million of those, that I can always cast these. If they're in my opener, I can always scry out of non-lands towards more mana early. So like 15 land triple devotee towards scrying towards lands. The curve stops at 4. One of my 4-drops can be cast for cheaper, another one can be cast for cheaper. If I flurry it with a Dragonfire or an Effigy or something, we can get this out on turn 3. I've got plenty of 1-drops to flurry with the rally, so that is a real thing. We've got tons of creatures to get the Pack Beast out really early too, so it's kind of like just 2 2-drops. Or sorry, 2 4-drops even. I think I can go 15 lands on this and go wild with it. I might not even want the Mystic Monastery, just because I think we have a lot to do with our mana really consistently, so there's going to be games where we're going to curve out much worse playing a tap land at any point in the curve. This is not a deck that is like most in this format where you can just skip your turn 1. Often there's decks where you skip your turn 1 and your turn 2. This is not a deck that does that at all. Like, we need our mana up. Turn 1, we want to go 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, double 2-drop on turn 4. 1 mana spell, 3 mana spell the turn after that. Like, we have a really low curve, tons of cheap spells. We're going to be using every single point of mana, including the mana we could have had out of playing an untapped land. So I'm going to cut that and hope the Mardu Devotees are enough to make the mana base decent here. We do have more red than white, which is a little awkward, because I also want a ton of white to get the Devotees out early. I'm still going to run more white sources than red sources because we have 3 white spells we can cast that also give us red mana. And we actually have, as well, more white spells cheaper on the mana curve than red spells, because we're never going to turn 1 Channel Dragonfire. We're rarely going to turn 2 Molten Exhale. So these are really a little higher on the curve, somewhere around 3 and 4 is where we're casting these alongside another spell, double spelling on that turn, which means that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in white that we want to play on curve, turn 2 or earlier, and only 3 red ones. So I think getting the white mana early is pretty important here to run the 8-7 split in white's favor. All right, deck looks really cool. I'm very excited about it. Most aggressive deck that I have drafted in this format so far, and I'm hoping we can get some quick kills with it, but we'll see how it all plays out for us as we hop into the gameplay. Here we are on the play for game one. I do like the hand. Obviously, we want to draw a red source in case the devotee dies. We also want to draw more creatures, though. But we can just start with Descendant of Storms and just have that stack up over time. I'm going to keep here. I don't think I need to immediately scry, because basically any draw is good. Anything other than planes is a good draw. And there is a mountain. Martyr Devotee only puts one extra power on the board. Descendant of Storms does that anyway, so I think I might as well go wide on this. Could go tall, but they're a black deck here. They could have Caustic Exile at only 2 mana. I'd like to be able to play around that a little bit, so even if they exhale the Descendant on turn 2, we got some good damage in with it. There's Mardu Monument, so the Mardu mirror match here. I mean, we're pure Boros, but you get what I'm saying. So now I think I want to make Descendant a 3/2 here. That way, if they play like a 2/2 next turn, I can make it a 4/3 to attack into that as well. Although I guess I can just blow it up if they do. Yeah, I probably should have just made another creature again. Oh my god. 2 Dragonfire and an Exhale. I feel like I ditched the other Dragonfire. I might even ditch Boltcaster, honestly. No, being able to play another creature on this board is big. But I'm just playing it as a 3-mana 3/3, honestly. That's so funny. I'm just keeping a 3-mana 3/3 on top in the interest of curving out. Okay, they do have the exhale on the Descendant. Yeah. I just went wider there. Twin Maw the Boltcaster. Alright, this is like Mardu control. Tons of cheap removal is not what we like, and it's part of what makes aggro kind of weak in this format. But I've got the reach here. Oh, Kieran does not matter. Straight into Devotee. Nice. And by the reach here, I mean ways to damage them without any creatures left. I mean, I need one creature left to use this encampment, so it will be rough. Honestly, if they like Caustic Exhale this 1/1 token, that's actually very bad for me. Which is kind of funny. And just blowing up a 1/1 token is a nightmare for me. Equilibrium Adept. I can't Molten Exhale the Victor and also use the encampment in the same turn. So if I Molten Exhale this Reigning Victor, I'm just gonna poke for 1. So I think I set up with the Equilibrium Adept here. Instead, wrong color untapped. Tragic. Don't think it's worth sacking a 1/1 and a Dragonfire to kill Reigning Victor. Do I think it's worth Dragonfiring Face? Kinda do. This could come back to bite me. I'm gonna be mana efficient here. Can still easily double spell next turn. Nightblade Brigade. Death Toucher on blocks and they surveil one. Where'd their other removal go? Oh, it was Omens that they shuffled back in because I know they played more than just that. Another Molten Exhale, that's a good one. Force a chump here. Looks good. Okay. We bounce off each other then. We're both indestructible. There's the Mardu Monument again. Grab a mountain. 4 mana up, not enough to crack it yet. Shocking Sharpshooter. Show me another Lightfoot technique. Ooh, I'm really happy with that. Getting that out of the way on a turn where now they gain no life feels really, really nice. But obviously we don't attack here now. I think I still cast the other one. So that I have all my mana up next turn to use a Dragonfire if I want. Get their 3/1/1s. Shock Brigade plus get 3/1/1s. Yep, that's a lot of blockers. They're technically at 1 here with both these channel Dragonfires. But Sharpshooter plus Monument's a lot of damage. I mean, we're still at 16 because they've been under the pressure the whole time, but... Okay, all I really need to accomplish here is to find a way to get 1 extra point of damage in, and the Monastery should really help with that. I could also just start casting Dragonfires, right? I mean, with Encampment, I'm attacking with 6 creatures. They've got 6 blockers. I just need to get 1 more in. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, with Encampment, if they don't top deck another creature next turn, then I can send all next turn and get in. But I take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Crackback, I survived that 11. All right, I just need them to miss on like 1 draw step. And then I get to attack all next turn, put them to 2, take the crackback, and kill them the turn after that. That does make it harder to not die on the crackback. Going to 10 here. I guess 11. It does not look like they missed. They redrew the life link. All right, this game's gonna take a while longer. That's kind of how this format's been going for me lately, but I still think we're in a really good spot. Okay. Dawnbreaker in the sky. Their reach creature is very small. Definitely into that. Chump chump. Let's go. Hidden Flood now. Fleeting Effigy. All right. My life flashed before my eyes when they gained all that life, and I was like, oh great, so all the 2 damages to faces have been completely nullified. I was so ready for them to have that buy enough time to hit some kind of big scary late game play, but never did. They missed on the next couple draws, and that lets us solidify the win in the end off of all that early aggressive damage. Scary game there, but we did pull out the win in the end. We are 1-0 heading into game 2. All right, here we are on the draw for game number 2. Opponent starts with Evolving Wilds, and we will start with good old Mardu Devotee. If they can't kill this Voice of Victory immediately, this pack beast is going to be cheap. They are on a blue deck here. I like these draws, but I need a 4th mana for the Adepts. But I've got time to draw it. Draw this, play a land. Draw this, play a land. Still good stuff to cast. Be a little greedy with it. I'm going to keep them both. And that'll play really well if they can't kill the Voice of Victory. And still plenty of decent cards if they can. They probably just trade into the 1/2 here. Since they've got an ability engraved, they did not. All right. They've played a blue-green deck from our opponent playing an Agent of Codus, which puts a +1/+1 counter on the board from Grave, puts 2 of them out. Essence Anchor is a really fun build around. Every time they renew a card or any card leaves their grave for any reason, they can spit out a 2/2 zombie. Just once per turn, but still very fun. Okay, so this is going to be the Pack Beast turn for sure. Now they might trade into Devotee because they've got the Anchor combo with the Agent. And they don't have any other good blocks anyway. All right, yeah, we just got 1 extra free point of damage in. I don't think it's worth a frontline rush to keep the 1/2. I've got Beastman already, and there's land 4. Our greed is rewarded, and we hit land 4 for the 4-drop in time. They play a good blocker, we can go Strike Master plus Exhale. If they don't, we just play an Adept. And they don't. They are tapping out for mana. We've got a River Wheel Sweep to get another card out of the way. Looking good. Punish the big, slow, splashy deck here, maybe? They don't have like a board wipe. This is the ideal position for us. That's the one thing you always got to be really nervous about in this format. There's so many super powerful late game rares and stuff. Wow, they milled a board wipe that they can cast from grave. We still get 1 more attack with all our cards, but they can decay our whole board. So they attack once and then die. And get a 2/2 zombie at the same turn. Okay, they go for Ice Ridge Serpent instead. Hold on to that board wipe for later. Bounce our Adept. Well, that's another piece of card draw for me. I don't mind that. I can probably just lethal them with Frontline Rush here, honestly. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I can. They can't cast anything right now. Alright, they were dead no matter how they played it. Whether they decayed our board or bounced somebody, we just Frontline Rush for the kill. Because they can't cast spells when I've got a Voice of Victory down. Boom. That is 2-0 heading into game 3. Nice quick victory against the slower deck that time. Here we are for game 3, Devotee into Voice of Victory. Perks of having 2 Voice of Victories. Scrying into mana here. Goodbye, River Wheel Sweep. Another white deck from our opponent. Boros mirror match, but we are on the play with a Voice of Victory starting us off, so feeling decent here. This Mardu Devotee really earning its pay, getting these reigning victors out. One mana Pack Beast on future turns. If I hit the land drop, Victor plus Pack Beast next turn would be awesome. Quarry Mountain Stalwart. Okay, didn't hit the land drop, but Channel Dragonfire's not a bad draw. Can boop the Bearer of Glory, then my only good attack is Reigning Victor, which they just trade off with. My 1/1 sticks around, but it's not cheap enough to let me. I'm trying to see if there's a way to engineer a board where I can play Dragonfire and Pack Beast, and really the only way is playing Pack Beast first and top decking a land. Or chump attacking with Voice of Victory to get enough creatures. I mean, if I attack with Reigning Victor and they don't trade it into Stalwart, I guess I can. But they're just going to trade it into Stalwart. I think it's Pack Beast here. Alright, we did miss. They didn't trade. Okay, I guess I could have done both. Oh wait, no. No, it wouldn't even work if they didn't trade with Stalwart, because if they're not trading with the Reigning Victor, then they're killing the Mobilized token, and I'm not getting the extra creature I needed to make Pack Beast cheaper. Okay, so yeah, either way, I couldn't double spell unless I Pack Beasted into the land for Dragonfire. Unless they just decided to completely not block at all, which would have been insane. And I am being inaccurate again. I could have chump attacked with Voice of Victory and definitely done the double spell. But I did not really want to do that. This thing's a Lightning Rod for removal, and it makes it so they can't do any spells that are at instant speed during our turn, during our combats. We don't have to worry about that at all. Maneuver the Pack Beast. Sure. Stalwart is definitely being a problem for us with that life gain. There's land 4. Pretty solid turn then. Oh, I can only use Devotee once per turn, so not quite incredible. I can't play Reigning Victor and Dragonfire, because I only get to filter mana once, and I would need to filter into black and filter into red in the same turn. Probably an Equilibrium Adept turn then. Still got my Victor attacks. They're still under pressure. Kill 2 Bearer Glories. Sure. Sick. At that point, I think I'm just going to clear the board then. Sorry, Big Dragon. I'm an aggro deck here. I'm trying to put more stats on this board. And there's their own Big Dragon. Plenty of ways to kill that. We've only drawn our 2 damage removal. Every other removal spell in the deck can kill it. Any way to get a swing in here? And a Reigning Victor, but I can do that later with a Flurried Adept. Much happier. Hey! There it is. Rally the Monastery. Oh, that actually can't kill it. It's power 4 or greater. But the combat trick is massive, especially if they don't kill Voice of Victory. Down to 15. They play a Rescue Leopard. They don't kill Voice of Victory, so they can't cast anything here. But I can cast a Rally the Monastery mid-combat, which ruins basically any way they possibly block. +2/+2 to 2 creatures here. And we don't have to worry about instants from our opponent. They kind of have to chump the Adept, I think, because it's 8 double strike damage if they don't. They can go to 1, trading into the 2/2. 8, 9, 10, 11. No, they go to 2 life and trade into the 2/2 if they want to actually kill something with this leopard. Or they could kill the Mardu Devotee and go to 1. They're going to trade into the 2/2, go to 2. Fair enough. Oh, wait. They can't cast any spells. I can just put them to 0. Instead of saving Voice of Victory. That's definitely better. I almost missed lethal. What we got there? 3-0. This deck has been insane so far. Hopefully it can keep it up as we head into game number 4. Alright, Martyr Devotee into Voice of Victory again here for game number 4. We're triple Devotee, double Voice of Victory, so it's not insanely unlikely, but still pretty lucky here. It is land 4 for the Adept. Don't mind if I do. Yeah, I'll take them both. Playing against the black deck. They got a Caustic Exile for 1 mana. I guess I should have still played Voice of Victory post-combat then, because it'd be better for me if they wanted to exile Martyr Devotee then. Voice of Victory, yeah. I highly doubt they would have done that on the 1/2, but just to give them the chance. No Bolt Caster value, we gotta just curve out and get damage in while we can early. That's a good draw. Got both our rare lands here. So we have plays if we flood out. That's a little awkward. The revealed Molten Exhale. They know exactly what's going to happen if they play a creature, so they just play a removal spell instead this turn. And then the Exhale remains exiled forever. Never mind. Thank you. And I guess I have to discard a card for that, but I mean, worth. Alright, yeah. Concession from our opponent. Our curve out is just insane here. They didn't have a removal spell in hand there, so they were like, well, I gotta jam out a blocker, so jam out the blocker into Exhale, I kill it, Flurry, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. Gross curve out. Super rare heavy, too. Voice of Victory, Encampment, and Quarry Mountain Monastery. If we didn't manage to get the damage in there, and we do flood out a little, and the second Voice of Victory was gonna be the way I was flooring this turn, if they weren't about to discard to the Exile on Regent, they were probably going to once they saw another Voice of Victory. Disgusting stuff from this Boros aggro build, and it is still undefeated 4-0 now. Undefeated all the way into a positive record, heading into game number 5. Alright, here we are on the play for game 5. This will be our biggest mana issues we've seen so far if we keep this, but I have Descendant turn 1, just endure it turn 2, start making that wide board. As soon as we hit a red source, the hand's pretty incredible. And we've got 7 and 3 Devotees, so like 10 of them. I'm taking a risk on this one. I really like turn 1 Descendant on the play. Because if they don't immediately kill the Descendant, Descendant is my 1-drop, my 2-drop, my 3-drop, my turn 4 endure this, plus use Signaling Roar from the Riling Dawnbreaker. They are also on white. We immediately draw a red spell. Not perfect. Black-white, there's the Fortress Kin Guard. For the wide blocks, just another white source for us. Alright, maybe with planes first from our opponent, that made it more likely that they would just have more creatures to play than anything else. I'm just going to pretend they played Swamp first, because I think if your opponent goes Swamp, you're supposed to go Spirit Token with Descendant. So I'll pretend that they played the Swamp first and I played it right. Because that makes me feel better about choosing wrong there. Alright, Reigning Victor here looks solid. Yeah, we'll just do it on the 2/2, right? Oops, clicking the wrong buttons. Done. And they could double block the 2/2. Take 2 damage. But this way they just straight up take 3. That's just better. Like, I could hit for 2 and trade my 2/2 into a 1/2 if I want to do that instead, but I don't think that's any better. Frontline Rush plus Boltcaster. Alright, maths for blockers then. It was good for us in one way or the other. I don't think I care enough about the 1/1 to frontline rush here. I'm going to play the Shock Brigade and save the frontline rush to kill them next turn with 1,000,000 creatures on board. Nightblade Brigade, okay, that's an issue. Death Touch on our Reigning Victor. And Channel Dragonfire on the 2/2, okay. Okay, they are stabilizing here for sure. I don't have the mana to activate this Delcaven encampment and use Frontline Rush. I would love to, but I don't. Scry 2 lands away, okay, that is nice to see. The Devotee putting in a lot more work here. One, two, three, four, 5. I can deal an additional 6. I put them to 1 life. They're at 1 life and we have 3 Channel Dragonfires in this deck. We have a Delcaven encampment on board for the wide attack. If they don't have life gain in hand, it should be really difficult to stabilize. Yeah, they're dead. Concession from opponent, we are 5-0, an undefeated run all the way into the money this time. Here we are on the play for game number 6. This is a slow hand for this deck. No 1-drops here, but we have Strike Master into Reigning Victor. That is a little bit awkward because we're not going to get any ETB value out of the Reigning Victor, but still definitely just have to jam it out to get the mobilizer going ASAP. Playing against green, blue. 2 of the soupiest colors in the format in terms of splashing a whole ton of stuff. And now we see Sultai, there's Formation Breaker. I guess at this point, happy enough to kill Formation Breaker to wait on Victor a turn and get the value. All of our draws so far have been more lands, so we're kind of flooded here. 6 mana. For this deck, 6 lands is flood. Most decks, that's like, hey, we made it to the top of the curve, let's go. But it is flood for this deck. They are down to 15. They do have an Undergrowth Leopard down now, which is one of those main deckable ways to blow up our enchantment-based removal that we ended up leaving in the sideboard. I don't think we have any artifacts or enchantments in this deck, actually. Yeah, our deck is really good against that 2-mana naturalize thing if anybody's trying to main deck that. The Leopard is fine, because the Leopard still attacks and blocks. You know, it's still relevant. Okay, Channel Dragonfire and River Wheel Sweep. Well, they made this thing too big to Dragonfire. So I'm not that excited about Channel Dragonfire. I think I just take the sweep. But I guess leaving the Dragonfire on top means that River Wheel Sweep definitely has at least one card that does something to hit, which is pretty important. Okay, I cannot save our Strike Master from the Leopard, but the trade is fine. That thing's a 3/3 over there. Instead, we just put them down to 12. We do not have the board state here to get a huge oops, I win +X from Frontline Rush, so I think I'm just making the 1/1s with it to go wide. Like, we have +2/+2 maximum right now, which is nothing. Definitely did not want to try to block and +2/+2 against a bunch of open mana. Way too many instants they could have to 2-for-1 us for that. Speaking of 2-for-1ing us, that is disgusting. Would I rather have a single Strike Master out or 2 1/1 goblins? This could have been way worse for us, honestly. We could have had even more threats down, but still bad. Yeah, I'd rather have a single 3/1 than 2 1/1s, especially a 3/1 with good abilities. But it's still 2-for-1 thus there. They killed the Devotee and they killed our 2 1/1 goblins, basically. Stun a Leopard for a little bit. Pack Beast Dragonfire. Pack Beast is expensive here, but Dragonfire sure isn't doing much. They are 4-color over there. We see every color but white. Rebuff the Strike Master. They have the counterspell. I mean, if they have the counterspell, they can just counter the Pack Beast itself. But what would be really bad is, like, if they had the counterspell for Strike Master, so that the Pack Beast doesn't get the cost reduction, and I don't get to double spell that turn, which means Pack Beast would stay in exile forever. I think it was still worth playing Strike Master first there. Because the playing around the counterspell is like, if they have the counterspell and I try to play Pack Beast, it's gone forever anyway. I'm just up a Strike Master that I wouldn't have had otherwise. I am not focused enough right now. I should have played this pre-combat and gotten 1 more point of damage. Oops. I was too busy talking about the hypothetical counterspell. Ooh, that's really good for our opponent. 4/4 reach plus a 3/3. Walls us off even with the Dawnbreaker. Hello, Voice of Victory. You're also very good, but not, like, really on this board. Very good generally. I mean, we're just waiting for our removal spell that can kill the Reach blocker, and then we kill them with the Dawnbreaker really quick. Actually, all of our Dragonfires work too, because we can flash them back. So I guess I get 4 damage in here. I put them to 2, and then if I just draw a Dragonfire, they're dead. I mean, unless maybe they do trade the Reach off here. If they've got a good removal spell in hand, they could trade the Reach off and then kill the Dawnbreaker next turn, and then they're still at 6. If it's taken them this long, yeah, I was gonna say, if it's taken them this long, I don't think they have the removal spell in hand, in which case this is good for us either way. Either getting the Reach creature out of the way or putting them to 2. Putting them to 2, of course, putting them dead to our other 2 copies of Dragonfire. Or any removal that kills Earthcarver, they're dead to that too. In fact, if they don't cast something right now, they can't cast anything during our turn, so we know that we can just attack for lethal by hitting with 2 1/1s. Sick. I also drew the effigy to make it super mega lethal, but definitely lethal. There's the concession from opponents, but again, with Voice of Victory's just incredible ability stopping them from casting any spells during our turn, we were already locked in for lethal. We knew they couldn't do anything here, so if we just attack all 3, they block these 3, sure, but the 2 mobilized tokens finish them off for the last 2 damage. That is 6 and 0. Can we get an undefeated run all the way to the trophy in this draft? Would be pretty sick, and would be with an archetype I haven't drafted a lot. We've done a whole ton of the 3+ color, good stuff, slower, bomb-centric, late-game centric decks. Would be pretty sweet. We'll see how it wraps up for us as we head into our final battle. If we can't manage to pull off the 7-0 completely undefeated run, we do have 3 shots at getting a trophy this time. All right, here we are on the play. No 2-drop, but an otherwise pretty great curve, and the Devotee might be able to scry into one. I think I scry out of any mana that I see here because we have enough 1 and 2 mana plays that finding any of those to play on turn 2 and keep this curve rolling would be fantastic. Okay, we find 2 mana plays. I like all these. I think I just take the Dawnbreaker to play it for sure, and then I've already got 1 removal spell with Sweep, Boltcaster as well to trade up. I think I ditch the Exhale towards getting land 4 for the Equilibrium Adept. Plus, the Monastery is a great card draw engine if we flood out as well, so definitely lands looking like great valuable draws. Our opponent starts with a Mountain here. Luckily, no channeled Dragonfire for them to clear out the Devotee. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter where I put the next card I scried, because I was going to shuffle my deck after I drew that thing anyway. Ooh, Glacial Dragon Hunt is incredible against more aggressive decks like this. It's kind of just incredible in general. 2 mana, draw a card, discard a card, deal 3, do it again off the flashback. Card is great. Boltcaster, I may have overvalued Boltcaster. I think the problem is there's so many decks in this format that are so slow that it's just a 3 mana 3/3 kind of a lot. Because there's a lot of games you're going to play against slower decks where they just don't have a blocker out yet anyway. So you just plop the thing down like you never dealt damage to a blocker because they didn't play a blocker. Boltcaster probably the biggest underperformer today. How are you going to play no creatures? I would really like to double spell, but I can't because I have nothing to sweep. I could tap my own Devotee to do it. No, we're fine. I can draw a card or get extra damage in here. I should probably draw the card. And this way I get to hold up the rally. If they play a good blocker, I just blow it up. Uh-oh. 2 blockers. And one of them I can't rally. I'm going to do that and the Dragon Hunt. That's really good too. This is quite the turn for our opponent. Yep. Well, let me think here. 3 to that. Okay, if I rally and save it, I have 6 damage on board, 7, 8 off of encampment, or 7 and 8 off of flurrying. I think I actually saved this. Oh, they've got 1 and a black up. They could have double removal? They do have double removal. Gross. All right, very, very nice hand off the tiger there. Still in a fine spot if I can find something to cast off this sweep. What I'm hoping for here. Oh, they revealed a life gain dragon from their hand. That's really bad for me. Come on, 1 or 2 drop. I got tons. There we go. Lose another adept, though. Yeah, but I mean, this thing's going to be attacking as a 3-power creature next turn into their 3/3 flyer. Sagu Wildling. I sit here and I draw a card. Or put them to 1. Unless they trade. They could bounce off Equilibrium Adept. If they bounce off Equilibrium Adept, we still put them to 2, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. I think I put them to 2 here. Unless they trade into Descendant. If they trade into Descendant, then put them to 3 and get the Wildling off the board. Okay. Strong turn. They're at 3 life now, but they've got access to pretty much every color. Everything in Teamer plus Maelstrom of the Spirit Dragon for anything splashed in. Another life gain dragon. Okay. Unset Strike Master off the top. That can kill the dragon. But not till the turn after it loses its summoning sickness. I can put them back to 3 and just play the Strike Master, or I can draw a card and play the Strike Master. Back down to 3 here, I think. Well, when I put them down to 3 and lose Mardu Devotee, probably not quite worth it. I kind of still want to play Strike Master first. Is that wrong? Voice of Victory is 3 attackers. Make sure we know they don't have any instants. But Strike Master can kill the Wildling as a blocker. I feel like that's probably still wrong, though. Because it's not like I'm going to have the mana to, like, kill the Wildling as a blocker and trigger the Flurry to actually, like, threaten lethal or anything. Off of killing it next turn regardless. My god! Every Wildling in the draft pod! Stop! Okay, well, I know they can't cast anything right now, so if somehow this is lethal, it's lethal. Block, block, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I put them to 4. can flurry for the adept and kill one of these wildlings. See what we're casting next turn. Boltcaster post-combat. Tiger's about to be untapped too. You can synchronize charge. This is going to be astronomical. The vigilant swings plus even bigger blocks. I think I keep that and I just go big attack next turn. Go wide rather than go tall. We're not going to get double strike on adept next turn anyway, so it's just going to attack as a 2/4 and bounce off something. So let's get one of these wildlings off the board. And try to attack around by having a bunch of mobilize stuff. Encampment kind of being mobilized. Alright, Synchronized Charge is very scary for us. It makes their blockers better, plus get a Vigilant attack in while still holding them all up. But I would still be really happy if that's the best play they have this turn, because there's so much worse they could have with this million mana. And Earthcarver is one of those things that is so much worse. Alright. Well, we kill somebody with a Boltcaster, I guess. I can go Encampment, attack with a Devotee, and have 3 options of what to kill. But I'm pretty sure, like, it's really just the width of the board that matters here. So if I'm just killing a 3/3, I'm just killing a 3/3. That's fine. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna chump attack with 1 Devotee. That's no longer a chump attack. But I can't Boltcaster and play it in the same turn anyway. Maybe I should have just Reigning Victored the Strike Master in there to kill something that turn. Well, yeah, because now Synchronized Charge can get up to 5 toughness, to where even a 4 power Indestructible Strike Master won't be killing anything on the attack. Oh boy, Karakit Guardian says hello. Guess I get rid of its hexproof at worst with Reigning Victor here, right? Okay, I mean, the fire breathing on the Fleeting Effigy is pretty huge. Block, 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 block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can put them to 4. Again, that's not quite good enough. Hope they just put a 3/3 in front of this. Worst for me would be if they put the 4/4, because then I have to dump mana into that instead of drawing a card, but they put a 3/3 in front of it, then okay. Looks good. Undergrowth Leopard. Now they can, if they synchronize charge both the plus and plus one counters onto the Guardian, it's too big for Strike Master to kill. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good. Do I Strike Master the Guardian in their end step? Or do I activate Monastery again and then kill it in my turn before an attack? Think I leave all my mana up during my turn for like Fleeting Effigy and stuff here. Dragonfire is huge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 attackers. 1, 2, 3 blockers. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If Barrel survives, it kind of kills me on the crackback, doesn't it? Yeah, especially with Synchronized Charge, too. But they kill me even if I don't, like, get this attack in and kill anybody here. Jesus. I'm a mana off from what I want to do. Which is also Flashback Dragonfire. I'd have to hold a 3/3 back and still have 4 mana up. I think I'm about to die on the crackback here. We'll see. Okay, thank goodness. Yeah, no, this is enough damage. They have to block the big stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have to let me kill at least one of their creatures where I don't quite die on the crackback. Yeah, if they block a 1/1 instead of the 3/3 or the 2/2 here, then they take 2 more damage. 2 more damage than 7 is 9. They have to lose their 3/3s on this block. And not have a lethal crackback. So we can get the 2-turn kill here. Even if they wipe the whole board, if they don't gain life, I just Dragonfire their face next turn. And we have fought through 3 Sagu Wildlings, so hopefully no 4th for life gain. Sagu Pummeler on blocks. Piercing Exhale, the Voice of Victory. Send in 4. Multiple ways to do it, but I'll just Dragonfire the face. That is 7-0, an undefeated run in this draft, showing that while there are so many great ways to fix your mana and play a super powerful late game with tons of bombs in every color, and while this is a slower format, aggro is still very viable if it is open, and it was wide open in this draft to the power level of making a full 7-0 deck here, where we were cutting great spells like Detainment and Kinguard, still having a really, really good deck here. Incredible stuff from this Boros aggro build. Very, very happy with how I drafted and played it out. Obviously, you cannot really be unhappy getting a full undefeated run. There were definitely some misplays in there that I think I pointed out at the time. I don't remember them at this point, but I think I played like the wrong curve or the wrong creature from time to time. But the deck just carried. I mean, it was so strong. Starting with that Voice of Victory, knowing we've got one great aggressive rare leaning into cheap removal spells and creatures and stuff to get that that Boros aggro deck started, and then having it be open enough in the draft pod to get pretty late monastery, encampment, a second voice. Just a really, really excellent draft today. Biggest overperformers and underperformers. Let's think. The Boltcasters were the biggest underperformers, as I said. Even when we were just carving out aggressively, there were enough games where our opponent was just not playing the early creatures to get any blocks where the Boltcaster matters, that in more games we were playing this as a 3-mana 3/3 with no abilities than we were playing it as an actual removal spell tacked onto a creature. So this was significantly worse than just like the Reigning Victors on average. It did manage to kill stuff now and then, so I think that was definitely the biggest underperformer. Was not that exciting. Biggest overperformer, was there anything in here I felt was like a little bit filler of a creature that just played incredibly well? Like there are certainly creatures that I'm like, yeah, I really liked how Descendant played, I really liked how Reigning Victors played, but I already liked those cards a lot. Same with Voice of Victories, the rares, of course. The lands played even better than I thought they would. The Encampment and Monastery were absolutely pivotal, but I mean, those are just great rares that you get to run over basic lands to make sure you're not flooding out. You still got good stuff to do with your mana, so I already knew that those were good too. Maybe Frontline Rush for the biggest overperformer. I don't know, I liked the flexibility of it quite a bit, but I wasn't expecting it to get as much damage as it did on occasion here. Even just saving our 3/1 from the removal spell that one time mattered a lot. Even when it was just 2 mana +2/+2, that played pretty well. But there was that one game, this hit for like an extra 6 damage out of nowhere and just ended things. So it might be Frontline Rush. I don't know. It's hard to say because I already liked pretty much everything in the deck. But it might be Frontline Rush. Maybe Fleeting Effigy. That card put in work in that last game too. So the deck as a whole, the whole deck is a pretty big overperformer. 7-0 it is for today's draft of Tarkir Dragonstorm. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more on your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.